Hello, thank you for coming to my channel for episode 3 of Ex-Witness Awake. Today I'll be discussing disfellowshipping, when it started, how it affects people, and why it's wrong. So, previous to 1952, this was not something that was done by Jehovah's Witnesses. In fact, if you look in a 1947 Awake, January the 8th, the governing body talks about how the Catholic Church has excommunicated people, and they give a list of scriptures and that are commonly used to support that, and they're saying that it's not something that is in line with this practice, that it's actually a pagan practice, and they're basically saying it's wrong. And then several years later, 1952 comes along, and they decide, hey, you know what, this is a great control tactic, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and we are going to disfellowship people for certain things. Now, there's a long list of things that you could be disfellowshipped for, among them, murder, fornication, adultery, stealing, lying, and so forth. I'm sure there's other things I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head. And yes, these are bad things, and I can understand the reasoning behind it, that it's to keep, the reason is it's to keep the congregation clean, spiritual clean. But the question is it right in all circumstances? I don't think so. Take, for instance, lying. There can be big lies, and then there can be little lies. So where do you draw the line? What's called a white lie versus, a really big whopper. Who decides that? Well, it's three brothers in a back room in a kingdom hall that decide whether that's a real issue or not. It is estimated that approximately 70,000 Jehovah's Witnesses are disfellowshipped every year. That's a big number, considering the number of witnesses there are worldwide. Of those, maybe a third come back. So 2/3 of those people, tens of thousands of people, do not return. And these people can be very negatively affected. Most of you watching this are aware that disfellowshipping is a shunning by all Jehovah's Witnesses, and that includes your immediate family. So family are supposed to be the ones that, through everything, they support you. But since they're indoctrinated into this religion, they can't. They have been told that they must avoid speaking to you because it's supposed to be this loving arrangement that is discipline from Jehovah God, but it's not loving. There are detrimental effects of being disfellowshipped. And I will go into those detrimental effects shortly, but let's think about this. You're supposed to have these men who are appointed by God to be shepherds to the congregation, to help those who are in need, to give them guidance, direction, and, to enforce the rules too. But they really are imperfect men. So when it comes to the motivations for things that have happened, can they really see into the hearts of men? No. They pray for direction from God, but it doesn't appear that they actually receive that direction from God, because they make mistakes. If you are accused of something and you don't have any way to prove it, circumstantial evidence, what have you, you can be disfellowshipped for that thing. One of the ways that you return to the congregation is to, first off, say that, I've stopped doing the thing that I got in trouble for, but also that you're repentant for what you've done. Now, if you're actually innocent of the thing that you've been accused of, how can you be repentant for something you didn't do? So you basically have to do the time for a crime you didn't commit. And that's a tough one. People spend years and years in prison for committing crimes, as far as secularly, with police and that sort of thing. And they wasted a good chunk of their life being locked up. And that has a devastating effect on a person, to know that you're stuck in jail for something you didn't do. So in this case, you're stuck in the situation of being alone, isolated from the people that you care about and the people that you love and that are supposed to care about and love you, and you can't do anything. Also, these men that are appointed as shepherds of the congregation, we know in recent years that some of them have been involved in wrongdoing themselves. Some of them are cheating on their wives. Some of them are abusing women and children, or, well, anybody, boys. And these are the people that are supposed to be making these decisions about your life and the things that you're doing, when secretly they are doing things that are probably much worse. That doesn't seem fair at all, does it? So as far as the effects of disfellowshipping on people is concerned, in research I found that as far as the Jehovah's Witness population, it's estimated that it's 5 to 10 times greater instances of suicide than the general populace. That's huge. Now, I couldn't get any clarification whether that is talking about anybody who's a Jehovah's Witness and not someone who has been disfellowshipped. But assuming that it's talking about Jehovah's Witnesses in general, imagine how much greater that would be for somebody who has no support system. It's got to be more. And people who are disfellowshipped, and I know from personal experience, they have to deal with feelings of worthlessness. They also have a fear that comes with knowing that, according to what you've been taught all your life, the world is coming to an end very shortly, and you're on the outside. And we know that Jehovah's Witnesses believe that they are the only ones that are going to survive Armageddon. So if you're on the outside, what does that say? You're not going to make it. You're going to die with everybody else in this world who's not a Jehovah's Witness. And that's a terrifying thing if that's what you believe. I can say from my own personal experience as being disfellowshipped that, as I mentioned before, I was trying to go back for about a year, and then I stopped. And I think I mentioned that I had met someone. And I dated that person for about 9 months. So we were pretty involved. It was just not sort of a casual dating thing. She was my girlfriend. And it didn't work out. And I was devastated. I dated some other people. And, you know, you have dinner and stuff, and you have a good time and whatever. But sometimes you date somebody and it becomes more, and you start developing feelings for them, and it doesn't work out. Now, coming from a situation where I had a big support system and suddenly I had 0 people that were there for me, and I felt like I was abandoned, I think in my own head, I sort of put those two together, and I felt like, you know, these people that I got involved with, they were abandoning me, and it felt horrible. I mean, nobody likes to get dumped, but I felt like I was starting to get back something, you know, someone that cared about me, and then they didn't. And I was in a really bad way. I actually had, you know, suicidal thoughts because I was already dealing with guilt. I was already dealing with feelings of being worthless for what had happened in when I was a witness. And, you know, with myself, in the place that I was staying, there was a drop ceiling in my basement, and I had looked up there one time, and there was an eyelet that was stuck in the boards. And I went as far as learning how to make a noose, and I put it up there, and I thought about it. It was a very low time in my life. Thankfully, I came through it okay, and I'm glad because my life is so much better now. I have a great family. I have a wonderful partner. I have love again. I have people that care about me again. And I would have missed out on all of that had I followed through with those thoughts. So while I can kind of see in a certain sort of way how someone could reason that disfellowshipping is okay, it's really not okay. Because some people do not get through it. And you can't come back from that. And that's all I have to say on that subject. So, I don't know if this was enjoyable. I hope that my telling my little bits of facts and story was something that maybe you could relate to, or maybe this could be helpful to you in a certain way. That, you know what, even though I was pretty low at times, and you might be pretty low at times, you can get through it. You know, it's something you can navigate and you can come out of. And you can be in a whole lot better place. Life is difficult at times, and we have to go through a lot of crap. But you know what? It is also very beautiful. And I'm thankful that I'm here, and I'm thankful that you, the viewer, are here as well. And I hope that you have an excellent day, and I will see you in episode number 4. Bye-bye.